An internal Scotland Yard investigation has found it is credible that one of its former undercover officers, who is now a Conservative councillor, had a relationship with a teenage animal rights campaigner. Andy Coles, who's currently a member of Peterborough City Council, denied to investigators that he had had an inappropriate relationship with the woman when he posed as an activist in the 1990s. He was a member of the Metropolitan Police Special Demonstration Squad, which infiltrated protest groups. Councillor Coles' undercover past was only revealed publicly when his brother, the Radio 4 presenter, the Reverend Richard Coles, wrote about it in his autobiography in 2014. The woman is now asking for an apology and compensation from the Metropolitan Police. Our Home Affairs correspondent, June Kelly, is with me now. June, these are issues with a long tail on them, aren't they? Because they go back some way.
They certainly do, Joanna. In this case, Jessica, and this is how we are referring to this woman, she says that when she was 19, she was a passionate animal rights campaigner, and she met a man who was calling himself Andy Davey. She thought he was 24 and single. In fact, it turned out he was a police spy, 32 and married, and he went on to have a public role. General election night 2019, and standing at the shoulder of the winning candidate in Peterborough is Andy Coles, a Conservative councillor and former police officer. This was him in the 1990s, when he was an undercover officer. He infiltrated protest groups and called himself Andy Davey. Next to him here is a 19-year-old animal rights campaigner.
I knew lots of people, I was at lots of...
Now using the pseudonym Jessica, she says they had a sexual relationship, and she describes him as her first boyfriend.
I think it would have been quite obvious that I wasn't sort of very worldly wise with regards to to boys.
Andy Coles has denied having an inappropriate relationship with her. An internal Metropolitan Police inquiry has resulted in no criminal proceedings, and the police watchdog found no grounds to investigate Andy Coles. But the Met says it is credible he had a relationship with Jessica, and if he was still a serving officer, he would have had a case to answer for alleged gross misconduct. We asked Andy Coles for an interview or a statement. In response, his lawyer said, Mr. Coles intends to cooperate fully with the forthcoming undercover policing inquiry, and it is not appropriate to respond to your allegations outside of the inquiry.
If I'd have known who he really was, he wouldn't have got through the front door. I wouldn't have gone anywhere near him had I known he was a police officer, or that he was 32, or that he was married.
Jessica believes he should now resign as a Conservative councillor. Well, personal relationships will be one strand of the forthcoming undercover policing inquiry. It will also look at the way that these police spies infiltrated protest groups, like, for example, the campaign to get justice after the murder of the black teenager Stephen Lawrence. And also, we know that undercover officers took identities of dead babies and children as they were trying to create new identities, what they call their legends. So a lot for the undercover inquiry to look at. It should be said, Joanna, though, it has been criticised for the pace or the lack of pace at which it's moving. It was announced in 2015 by the then Home Secretary Theresa May, and since then there's been quite a delay, really, in things getting going. Now, it is due to start taking evidence this summer, but the first phase of the inquiry will focus on what went on in the 60s and 70s, so it will be some time before it gets to stories of women like Jessica.
June, thank you very much indeed.